The Adidas AE one was without a doubt the most talked about, most popular basketball shoe in 2024. Not a single bad colorway, and it was a signature shoe for Anthony Edwards, one of the more popular young players in the NBA right now. Performance-wise, wasn't my favorite. No, I do think there were a few that came out that beat it in terms of performance for me, like the Sabrina 2s. I will never stop raving about those, but it was still a huge success. And with such big shoes to fill, did Adidas give Anthony Edwards a worthy follow-up? Let's find out. Adidas AE2 with love. And this shoe is dropping on October 4th for $130 in the United States. And just like the AE1s, he came with a colorway that features this peach and pinkish combination that is a tribute to his home state of Georgia. First impressions of this shoe. I think it actually looks quite good in person. Initially, when images first surfaced online, I did not love it, especially with the AE1s being so good. But in hand, I think this looks really nice, mighty nice. I think the lateral side looks better than the medial side of the shoe, so there's that. But initially, the texture and materials used here in images just look kind of flat, look a little cheap. In person, it doesn't feel luxurious or anything, but just the way it flows, the lines on the shoe, I think it actually looks really nice. And in some really good colorways, I think this could be... This could be a delicious looking shoe. Yeah, definitely see it in person before you judge. And the upper of the shoe, you can see it still keeps a lot of the DNA as the AE1s. So in terms of the shape and how it looks and kind of the vibe that it gives off, still very much has the AE1 energy. What they did kind of swap out is the honeycomb TPU on the sidewalls. You see here has what Adidas calls articulated fangs. That obviously adds to more containment and lockdown for the shoe. And on the mid panel here, that is just like textile material. It's not like the best or anything, doesn't feel very high quality. Now in terms of toe area, that is still 3M reflective, just like the AE1. The shoe does come with black laces out of the box, also comes with these pink laces. Pink actually goes pretty well as well on the shoe, but if I had to choose, I'm going with black. And the lace loops for this shoe, it is like hidden, so it's not like on the outside like the AE1s. And then at the top of the tongue, you will see Anthony Edwards logo. So it's in the shape of an A, obviously for his first initial. It is also in the shape of a hill that is used to depict Ant, that is his nickname. And you get 5 ridges that represents his number. And you can see kind of the shape and outline. You will see E, which is to represent his second initial. Now moving on to the booty of the shoe, you'll get this Adidas logo that is kind of glued as its own piece onto the booty tab. And on the back, you'll get these faux carbon fiber plates that actually came with the AE1s as well. And I'll get more to support later, but that works decently well. Now you'll also see there's a bit more material like up top for the AE1s, but at the very top, it is like super flimsy, super thin. So it didn't really provide much. Over here, it's shaved down a bit, but it is also pretty plush in that area. In terms of the insole, you get Anthony Edwards logo here, and the quality of it, you might as well just glue some cardboard into the shoe because this is offensive. In the box of the shoe, this kind of peachy color with the Anthony Edwards logo on the lid, and inside just Adidas paper. And now moving on to the cushioning of the shoe, according to Adidas.com, it comes with both light boost as well as light strike. Now quick note here, when the AE1s first dropped, they had this description on the website as well. Turns out it was inaccurate. It was just full length jet boost. Not sure if this is the same case for the AE2s. Definitely does feel like on my feet, full length boost, but who knows. It is not super plush compared to some recent Nike or Jordan shoes, so like the Jordan 39s, very bouncy, kind of soft, maybe a little too soft. The GT Cut 3s, I feel like were pretty plush as well. This is slightly on the firmer side, and you also feel pretty low to the ground, so low profile feeling on feet, which I know a lot of basketball players do prefer. And just underfoot in terms of how it feels compared to the AE1s, it feels so similar. It is very hard to tell the difference, like in terms of where you sit on the floor, maybe a little bit more softer on the AE2s, but for all intents and purposes, for me, it felt pretty much close to identical. And in terms of the traction, pretty much herringbone traction with this A coming right down the middle. In a decently clean gym, it works really well. So no issues there, but in a pretty dusty gym, this does pick up dust kind of like a magnet. So you have to wipe your shoes quite a bit. For my B-roll, I play in a pretty not well-maintained gym. $269 a month for my gym fee, and you can still get absolute dusty gym. But the place where I actually play pickup basketball, I don't have B-roll there because I feel kind of weird putting my phone, like shooting other people, playing ball, and don't have the permission. So I want to respect people's privacy. So I don't have B-roll there, but usually where I play pickup, a very well-maintained gym, and this had absolutely no issues at all. Now compared to the AE one, I do think it's pretty similar, so both work well in a decently maintained gym. The AE1's not the low version of the shoe. The low had like a flat type of texture, but the mid version had this kind of wavy texture to it. This one is just flat, and in terms of the support, again, according to Adidas, comes with their propulsion plate, and it actually extends basically nearly the entire length of the shoe. So from the back here to around the forefoot over here. Some people, like me, I do prefer a lot of times with just a plate in the midfoot, but this longer type of plate, even though it can feel kind of stiff out of the box, you kind of have to get used to it, does provide a lot of kinetic energy return. So when you push off and explode, you really want as much energy to come back as possible. This plate, I will say, compared to the AE1s, I do feel like, I don't know if it's kind of placebo or anything, because I have broken my AE1s a bit more, but I do feel like initial wear, this feels slightly more flexible than the stiffer AE1 plate, but it doesn't really sacrifice anything in terms of the rigidity of the shoe. Very hard to bend, very hard to twist. The heel counter here though is very solid, even though it's not carbon fiber, it's made to look like that. It's decent enough. And one thing that I really do like about the AE1s is this relatively wide base on the forefoot area that increases support and stability, as well as the outrigger here. So when you're doing kind of side to side hard movements, kind of keeps your feet contained. And the materials, even though it's not like the most expensive and luxurious type of materials, the TPU that extends all the way up to the ankle collar here, that keeps your forefoot area really locked down and contained as well. So for a lightweight player like me, you shouldn't have really any issues with support and containment. Now, one thing in terms of support for the Jordan 40s, that was just so rigid. You can really feel it. One of the first things you feel when you start like playing in that shoe and breaking it in. Sometimes the support and containment is so over the top. When you do like hard cuts or hard drives and change direction, you almost feel like your foot's kind of stuck in place and you kind of want a bit of a natural roll. So this shoe is not as rigid as that, but it still maintains a really good level of support. Now, in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for the AE1s. I stuck true to size. I know a lot of people had an issue with the forefoot where they had this extra kind of lace loop that made the forefoot area a bit tighter than it needed to be. For me, honestly, I never actually had much of a problem there. It did make the shoe a little harder to like stuff your feet into, but I never experienced any pain here, even though I do have wide stubby feet. And maybe that's just because I'm so used to Nike or Jordan shoes where typically they're a bit worse for wide footers. They just come pretty narrow, especially like Kobe shoes. But for the Anthony Edwards line, I go true to size, no real problems there. However, I will say, this shoe, just like the AE1, more with the lows and the mids, there was some heel slippage. It wasn't as contained in this part of the shoe as I would like it to be. And honestly, wasn't enough where I couldn't play. Just this week, I played like 3 hours in this shoe. Didn't need to change it. But you do feel a little looser here compared to some other shoes that I own, like the Sabrinas 2 and 3, as well as the Jar 3s that I have been really liking. They fit me better. Even though I lace it all the way up into like the very top eyelet, I still feel that kind of slight heel slippage. If I went down half a size, I feel like it would be too tight in certain parts of the shoe, and definitely I would not go up half a size. Another issue that a lot of people had with the AE1s was the weight of the shoe. And as someone that grew up in the 90s, complaining about the weight of a basketball shoe just doesn't really come natural to me, because pretty much everything is lighter, or at least the same weight as the shoes that I grew up playing with. So I never really complained too much about the AE1s, but objectively, compared to a lot of modern day shoes, it was much heavier. This one improved. So the AE1s was 18 ounces. This was a little under 16 ounces. So you shave off 2 ounces. Still a pretty heavy shoe compared to modern day shoes. Still much lighter shoes that you can get out on the market. So if minimizing weight is the absolute #1 priority for you, you might have to stay away. Now, comfort-wise, I will say this is a pretty comfortable shoe if you just want to wear this casually. I know some people did that with the AE ones. Feels good underfoot. It's not like super plush though, not like a very bouncy type of shoe. So if you're into that type of cushioning, think again. And it is pretty low to the ground. One of the lowest, I think, in my current rotation. So you get that real good core feel, but when you're just walking casually, you might not love that. Now, the AE2 versus the AE1, which one would I go for? They're just so similar, and even though there's not like insane improvements to the AE2s, this is such a nice shoe that you don't really need to change too much. Why fix it if it ain't broke? One thing that probably was the biggest complaint for people was the weight, and they definitely did improve upon that. So just going off that alone, I'll probably stick to the AE2s performance-wise, looks-wise. These are delicious. Hard to beat the AE ones look-wise. With an impossible task to follow up one of the most beloved shoes in recent memory, beloved basketball shoes anyway, definitely. Did they come correct with the AE2s? And I think they still did a really good job. Is it like my number one go-to shoe that I play with? It could be. It could be. I really like it. I think the Sabrina line is still my number one. The Jordan 40s, if they didn't strangle my foot and the fit wasn't that narrow, those would be number one because I love the cushioning on those. But this is up there. I do think Adidas came correct with the AE2s. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Adidas AE2 with love. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.